What is up, everybody? Chris of Midlife Crisis Media here. Welcome to Recent Pickups 86, everything that I've added to my physical media collection in February 2024. It's not as epic a month as January was in the way of like big things happening, but I do have some really cool things to talk about tonight. Started collecting for a new console, and I got some great movies to talk about. Got some bad things to talk about when it comes to some movie stuff. Got some really cool games that I picked up on the internet, shopping around, going game hunting on my own. Also going around game hunting with some friends that came down to visit from, up north. Yep, you'll see, TJ, you'll see. So let's get into it with the non-video game or movie-related stuff, not physical media stuff. We're talking like little collectible things that I tend to buy here and there. So you all know that I've been talking about it for months, that I've been trying to complete the Dungeons & Dragons 40th anniversary Hasbro line of action figures based on the cartoon that came out in the 80s. And I've had lots and lots of troubles getting all the figures in this set. And I finally got the last one I needed to complete the whole thing. So now I can stop talking about it on stream and boring everybody with my stories about it. And the last one I needed was Hank. Hank is the ranger in the group of characters. He has the magic bow that shoots like lightning arrows. The figure also comes with an 8-sided die and all that. So finally have the last figure to complete the set. Now I have Bobby the barbarian, Diana the monk, Eric the paladin, Hank the ranger. I can never remember this guy's name. Presto the wizard, Sheila the rogue, Venger, who is the villain, and dungeon master. Done. Finally. What's up, Solid? Well, welcome. Glad you could be here. And then the other thing that I picked up a few months ago, I talked about one of them. I picked it up at Half Price Books, of all things, randomly. Went there looking for, hopefully, some movies and some games to buy, and then found this toy, this action figure based on a movie that I love. It's from my childhood. Not a lot of people even know about it or care about it. I do, because it scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. And parents took me to see it in the theater, scared the crap out of me. Didn't stop me from watching it every single time I could on home video back in the day. So what is this? Diamond Select randomly released 2 action figures from this movie. Picked up Maximilian at Half Price Books. I'm talking the Black Hole. And I picked up the Vincent action figure. That is the good guy robot from the movie. There was 2 of them. There's Vincent and Old Bob. They released a separate one that's not in a box like this. It's in a regular old bubble, casing or whatever you want to call it, the packaging, where it comes with Vincent and Old Bob. I might pick that up if I see it cheap, but outside of that, I think I'm just kind of done. And this is the character that everyone said was a ripoff of R2-D2, even though he is nothing like R2-D2. He flies. He has laser cannons built in. He has claws. He talks. He's very snarky. Was voiced by Roddy McDowall in the movie. I love the character. I think he's really, really cool, and I'm glad that I finally picked up this action figure of him. It's a really nice looking one, too. The head moves up and down, lowers in. He has all the different appendages that can go in and out of the body, and I think he has a bunch of different... I think he has like laser blasts that you can put on top of the cannons and all that, which is pretty rad. So, yep, pick that one up. Oh, don't fall. See, I get Hank, and now I drop his ass. Shit. Anyway, so now we can get into the movies. Start off with the Blu-rays, but first... All right, so picked up 3 Blu-rays this month. One of them I've been talking about for the past few months. It's a TV show from Japan. Got the 4th volume of Ranma 1/2, the anime series based on the manga by Rumiko Takahashi, I think her name is. This has another 23 episodes in 1080p high def. And sex comedy that I was watching all the time back in the early 90s when anime first started coming over here a lot. And there's, I think, 2 more sets of this that I need to get in order to have the entire thing. I already have the set of movies and OVAs on it. So, yeah, it's a fun series. I like it a lot. It still holds up. I didn't think I would still like it after all these years, but bought the first volume, watched it, and I was like, yep, I'm still laughing and giggling at this and finding it, even though it's a little cringy once in a while, I was having a good time with it. So now I need, like I said, I need 2 more to complete that set. Picked this up because we lost Carl Weathers earlier in the month. Was that earlier this month or was that end of January? I can't remember. But the big thing everybody's been talking about is that Carl Weathers from Rocky and Predator passed away. And he's also on The Mandalorian. I really liked him on The Mandalorian. I was a great comeback for him. I was really happy to see him, back in the public eye again. He directed an episode of The Mandalorian, and it was actually a really good episode. So I was like, well, look, he's branching out. That is pretty rad. I hope he sticks around. And sadly, no. So I felt the need to pick up one of his most underrated movies that he made as the lead. He wasn't in very many movies that I remember seeing back in the day as the lead. He was always like the second lead in it. But the one that I always remember is Action Jackson. It's very strange. It's a cop movie. I think the guy who directed this directed Commando with Schwarzenegger. So it's a cop movie. Sharon Stone is in it. Craig Nelson, the dad from the Poltergeist movies, is the villain in it. Vanity is the love interest. It's really tongue-in-cheek, really cheesy. Has one of the best lines in the history of film in it, where Carl Weathers has a bad guy cornered, and Carl Weathers is aiming, of all things, a freaking rocket launcher at the guy. And the guy had made a comment about barbecue earlier on in the movie. So when Carl Weathers has him cornered with this rocket launcher pointed at him, goes, "Barbecue, huh? How do you like your ribs?" And then fires the rocket launcher and blows the guy up. 80s, man. It was a thing. But I remember always liking it, finding it really fun and entertaining, so I picked that up dirt cheap. I bought it before everything, I think, started jumping up in price that has to do with Carl Weathers. And I'm always talking about Full Moon Features. I think it used to be Full Moon Entertainment, then it was Full Moon Films, and now it's Full Moon Features. Low-budget company that came out of the death of Empire Pictures, which was really big in the 80s. They did Reanimator, From Beyond, Robot Jocks, Cellar Dweller, Troll. And then when they went bankrupt, Charles Band, who owned that company, decided to go home video only instead of theatrical and low budget, and made a whole bunch of movies with Paramount's money. And they're all really, really good. And I've been trying to get all the ones that I used to watch all the time as a kid, as they are slowly released onto Blu-ray by Full Moon. Charles Band, miraculously, once a year finds I found a print of one of the old Full Moon movies from the 90s, and I've restored it into HD. Yeah, just so happens every year. So the one that came out in 2023 was Netherworld. And this is a psychological horror thriller. Takes place in Louisiana, and I don't remember the whole thing. I just remember it was a dude comes down there because his dad died, and he's trying to figure out how he died and why, and all this weird supernatural shenanigans starts to happen. I don't remember it a whole lot because I have not watched this since the early 90s. I do remember Edgar Winter, of all people, is in here. I think he plays, because there's a lot of stuff that takes place in bars in Louisiana, and he's playing in the bar, his band is. And I remember being pretty cool. So I wanted to pick that one up to add it to the collection. I always remember that one being really interesting. And now we can get into the 4Ks. We'll start off with the single movie 4Ks, because I have a lot of sets this month, like I did last month. I'll start off with the one that showed up yesterday, and that is Contagion. This is the pre-pandemic movie about the pandemic that came out in the early 2010s. And was actually filmed partially at my place of work. They had just finished shooting, I want to say 3 months before I was hired at my current place of work. I remember nothing but stories, or being told nothing but stories by the people that I was working with about oh yeah, there was this one time when I walked out of the building to look across the quad and Matt Damon's standing there. Or, somebody saying yeah, I was there the day that they filmed Kate Winslet walking through our parking garage to go to a skywalk that we have attaching the parking garage to our building. Or oh yeah, remember that one time they turned the cafeteria on the other side of the quad into a triage center, or our big atrium area into a convention, was it a convention center? Or no, it was a conference center. and a bunch of offices in that atrium into like offices at the CDC kind of stuff. And I remember and then the movie came out. I didn't get a chance to see it in the theater. I watched it on home video. And I was like, oh yeah, that's the atrium, and that's the cafeteria, and that's our skywalk. And holy crap, how much did they film at our building? Apparently they filmed a lot. I'm sad that I missed it. But yeah, it's about a pandemic that starts kind of similarly to the way that COVID did. And its first victim is Gwyneth Paltrow. And yeah, it's actually a pretty good movie. And after the pandemic that we had, this movie's actually kind of it's scarier now than it was before, knowing what we know now. So really good movie. I wanted to have that in 4K. Great cast too. That's Matt Damon, Marion Cotillard, Lawrence Fishburne, Jude Law, Kate Winslet. Yeah, really good movie. It's still pretty cool. Yeah, I still hear stories about that one time I saw Matt Damon standing like right on the sidewalk in front of our building looking at the quad while he's waiting for like they're resetting whatever they were doing. I'm like, that's cool. I wish I could have been here for that. Because Steven Soderbergh directed that, and I hear he's actually really approachable. And me being a filmmaker and all, if I would have been there when they were filming, I would have been hanging around Soderbergh the entire time, just asking questions. Seriously, I would have been like, hey, can I talk to him real quick? While he's doing something. I'm like, I hate to interrupt, but I want to ask a question real quick. I would have been doing that every day. But like I said, they wrapped like 3 months before I started. Ended up filming some stuff on 41, I think it was one of the highways out here that goes north into Wisconsin. They filmed a bunch of stuff out there, up north by Zion, I do believe. I don't think they really filmed anything in Chicago. It was mostly in Skokie. But anyway, so one of the bad things that happened this month is I've brought it up a couple times, and I'm a member of the Disney Movie Club. And it's kind of like, what is it called? Something House. Where you used to get like music and movies from Columbia House, where it's like, to sign up, if you sign up with us, we'll give you 4 movies for 25 cents each. So basically 4 movies for $1. And from that point on, every month we'll have a new release that you can get through us, and you have to buy I think they said it was 6 full-priced movies through them in order to fulfill your contract for them giving you those 4 movies for $1. And you have every month they'll be like, here's the new release. You have to say you want it. You have to actually go to the website and say, yes, send it to me. They will charge you for it and send it to you. Otherwise, you say decline, and they will say, okay, fine, but you still have 6 movies you need to buy in order to fulfill your contract. Well, this month they announced that they're shutting down. And I think they said the last orders will be taken in May. Everybody's shutting down the physical media. Like Disney is like, we're just going to stick to streaming stuff. They've already sold the rights to Sony for the home video library stuff. Sony's going to be putting out all of their stuff now. So whenever a new Marvel movie comes out, a new Star Wars movie or whatever, Sony's going to be the one releasing the physical media, which I think is just strange. But anyway, so I decided, well, there is a Marvel movie that is, coming out on home video. Maybe I should use the opportunity to knock one of those movies that I need to buy in order to fulfill my contract through them so I can get this over with. So I have to keep on going there every month and saying no, because it's usually some animated Disney movie that I don't want. So I decided to buy through them The Marvels, the newest Marvel movie that we have gotten. And surprisingly, I really, really enjoyed this one. I thought it was really fast-paced and fun and funny. I was not a big fan of the original Captain Marvel because I thought it was pretty terrible that your main character, the one whose name is in the title, has absolutely zero personality the entire movie. And everyone in the movie, all the other characters are telling her, you need to get your emotions under control. You're out of control. I'm like, she has not expressed one emotion this entire movie. What are you talking about? So in this movie, she actually has a personality, and it's very likable. I like Brie Larson as the character. I think she handles all the action scenes very well. I like Tiona Parrish as Photon. I think she's great. I really liked her on WandaVision. And the movie just is owned by Iman Vellani, who plays Miss Marvel. She's like so enthusiastic and bubbly and excitable that like she just carries the movie on her shoulders. Like if she wasn't in it, I don't think it would be nearly as entertaining as it is. And you also have Goose, the cat that pukes up tentacles and eats people. That turns out to be a huge plot point in this movie. You still got Sam Jackson as oh god, I can't even remember his name right now. Shit. Wow, why can I not remember his character's name? Nick Fury. Duh. Anyway, really, really fun movie. Really short, though. I heard it had a lot of meddling by Disney going on, which is why it ended up being so short. But I hope we get more movies with these characters, even though this bombed, because all the those haters out there who are like, I'm not going to go and see a movie that features a powerful woman in the lead. I do recommend The Marvels, very much so. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, like all the people are like, I'm not going to watch a movie with a powerful female lead in it because, I'm insecure about my own manliness kind of stuff, or the ones that didn't go see it. I went and saw it. I really enjoyed it. Even though I didn't like the one before it, I really like this one. I hope we get more. I especially hope we get more with Miss Marvel because she is like a bright, shining beacon in the Marvel Universe right now. She's exactly what these movies need. They're starting to get a little stale, a little repetitive. That's what we need is more characters like her. Kino Lorber released a bunch of new stuff this month, one of which is, does this really need to be on 4K? I don't know, but I didn't own it on Blu-ray, so I picked it up this way, and that is Kindergarten Cop with Schwarzenegger. I saw this in the theater, cracked me the hell up. It still cracks me up. A lot of the Arnold quotes. See, this thing keeps falling out. I might need to get a different case. A lot of the quotes that I do in my Arnold voice come from this movie. Like, I'm not here to wipe your little tushies. It's not a tool. I really enjoy this movie. This is one of those movies, like, I saw Twins in the theater, and I thought it was funny. I didn't think it was great, but I was like, yeah, it's funny. Based on that, I'm like, I'll go see Kindergarten Cop, and we took my grandmother with, who, just like my mother with Jason Momoa, had a huge crush on Schwarzenegger, so every time we go see an Arnold movie, a whole movie, oh my. Every time he's like on screen, like you can see muscle through like his shirt or whatever, or his arms are exposed. Oh my. It's like, come really? But movie's really, really funny. I like it a lot. It doesn't have a whole lot of extras on it, which is kind of disappointing. It just has a trailer and a couple of audio commentaries, which is kind of a bummer. But whatever. Who is your daddy and what does he do? I still like the one I use at work all the time is like when someone starts whining, I'm like, I'm not here to wipe your little tushies. Next one that they released is an upgrade to a Blu-ray that I had from Shout Factory. I have always, I don't think it's a good movie. I think it's an okay movie, but I have a lot of nostalgia for it because it was one of the first, I guess, horror movies I was allowed to go and see in the theater. So like I have a soft spot for it, and that is Leviathan, which came out in 1989. It is like there was that wave of underwater sci-fi horror movies that came out in the late 80s. So I think it was all within the same year. We had Deep Star 6, which was by Sean Cunningham, who did the Friday the 13th movies. We had Leviathan, which is by George Cosmatos, the guy who directed Rambo 2. We had Endless Descent, which I think ended up going direct to video, and James Cameron's The Abyss, all I think within 1989, or at least end of 88 into all of 89. So we had 3. What's up, VGM? Welcome. Good to see you. So this is the only one. I saw The Abyss in the theater. This is the only horror one that I saw in the theater. Didn't go and see Deep Star 6, and Endless Descent came out on home video, like I said. And this has like effects by Stan Winston, and it has a great cast. It has Peter Weller, freaking RoboCop. You have Ernie Hudson from Ghostbusters, who has some great lines in this movie. I still think that one of the things that I still quote from this movie. No worries, dude. I'm glad you're here. No worries. So the whole idea behind this is a bunch of underwater miners. It's always a bunch of underwater miners in these movies. A bunch of underwater miners find a sunken Russian ship that was intentionally sunk, like it has torpedo, it got shot by torpedoes. And it turns out that the people that were on that boat were doing genetic experimentation. One of the miners finds the ship, brings back this like case that he finds, or like a safe, finds a bottle of vodka in it, and vodka and like alcohol is outlawed in the mining facility underwater because you're underwater, you don't want to do something stupid and kill everybody. So he keeps the vodka. Would you honestly drink vodka that you found in a sunken Russian ship under the sea? Would you? No. It's one of the problems I have with the movie. People do stupid shit. And the moment he drinks it, he starts to mutate, and other people get mutated. It turns into the Thing, where the creature like absorbs people into it and gets bigger. But the people on top side at the top, on the surface of the water, who are monitoring the miners, are like, "Oh, we can't rescue you. There's a storm coming. You're stuck down there until the storm's over." And Ernie Hudson's talking to the woman who runs the company, who's topside, and he's like, "We need to get out of here. We're all going to die." And she's like, "Look, I realize you guys have been through hell." He goes, "Bitch, we're still here." It cracks me up. Just his delivery of it is perfect, and I laugh every time I hear it. But yeah, it's got some shitty makeup effects sometimes, and the plot doesn't make a whole lot of sense a lot of times, but it's like a nostalgic movie for me, so I can't help it. But great cast. It has some decent extras. It has an audio commentary, a featurette. I don't know if it's a new one or an old one. It doesn't say. Hector Elizondo was in this. You probably have seen him in 100 million movies. There's one about him being in the movie. An interview with Ernie Hudson, which I'm going to watch tonight, and a theatrical trailer, because Ernie Hudson is awesome. I met him at the Midwest Gaming Classic in 2018, I think it was. Dude is super awesome and cool and chill and friendly. He was amazing. Stop making miners go underwater. Got another upgrade, but this one is from Screen Factory, and it's a Steelbook edition, and it has one of my favorite posters for a movie ever, and that is my upgrade of Darkman. I always love this Who is Darkman poster, and you can kind of see things happening behind it, but it's mostly obscured, which I think is great. Darkman by Sam Raimi. Before he did the Spider-Man movies, he did his own superhero movie, not based on anything except an idea from him about a scientist who's working on a synthetic skin for people that have been burned, and he himself gets burnt mostly beyond recognition. His face is destroyed, one of his hands is destroyed, and he starts to use his invention in order to get revenge on the people who wronged him. And also part of the treatment that he was given was that he would be in so much pain from all the burns that the doctors severed like a nerve cluster or something, and it makes him immune to pain, so he feels nothing. So he has like unchecked strength because he doesn't know what's hurting him and all that. It's really, really cool. And the thing is, like, you don't know who he is because he can disguise himself as anybody with the synthetic skin. It's really, really cool. Liam Neeson's in it. Frances, what's her name? Frances McDormand from Fargo is in it, and Larry Drake from LA Law plays one of the villains, and it's fantastic. It has a lot of special features, as you can see right here. And fantastic movie. I really, really like it. Saw this in the theater, and I remember I was the only person in like at least the classes that I was in, because that came out in 1990. I was in high school already, and I remember everybody that I would be like, "Oh, I went and saw Darkman this weekend." Everybody would be like, "Oh, I didn't get a chance to see it. What's it all about? Is it good?" And I remember just everybody wanting to ask me questions about it. It's really cool. Like I said, Sam Raimi did that between, was it Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness? And because that movie became a really big hit, in the theaters, they were like, okay, Universal was like, okay, look, you made a hit for us. We made a lot of money on that movie. What do you want to do next? And he was like, I want to make another Evil Dead movie. Give me money. And he made Army of Darkness. Next up is an upgrade of my favorite movie of all time that came out through Criterion. I'm just not happy with this packaging that it came in. When it showed up, I was like, I can't even put this on a shelf. It's longer than your average like Blu-ray or 4K case. It's taller than your average case, but it's thinner. So I have it like off to the side with some box sets and stuff because I can't fit this on my shelf. And that is Train Spotting. Yeah, this is my favorite movie of all time. It's by Danny Boyle. Came out in '96. First time I ever saw Ewan McGregor. It also has Johnny Lee Miller, Ewan Bremner, and I can never remember that dude's name who played the villain in World Is Not Enough. Does it have his name here? God damn it. Where's the cast? Kevin McKidd. Robert Carlyle plays the asshole in here. And like I said, it comes in this really thin case that got kind of jacked up because Amazon sucks. It's a little bit longer, a little bit taller, and it's made out of paper and cardboard. You just kind of like slide this part out, and it kind of unfolds. And I'm not a fan of these digipacks where you have to slide the disc out of a cardboard holder because that's how discs get scratched and damaged. You dum-dums. You're supposed to be the ones all about preserving. Criterion's the ones that are all about preserving film and all that. Yeah, preserve that by scratching up the disc you're releasing. And it comes with a book that's all about, I think it has like essays of the movie, like promotional pictures of all the actors and character. I love this movie. It's a little bit of everything, which is why I like it so much. It's a comedy. It's a drama. It's almost like a horror movie at times. It's amazing. I think it's just absolutely fantastic. Soundtrack is a freaking banger. God damn it, now I can't get the book back in. Come on, there we go. And I saw this in the theater 3 times, I want to say. I liked it so much, and I just kept on going back. Deals with drug use and, friendship, and it's, like I said, it's a little bit of everything. Absolutely love this flick, so I had to get the 4K upgrade. So it's a good movie you need to check out. Darkman. Darkman is awesome. And then I have all of these sets that come with more than one movie in a franchise in it. And we'll start off with this one. Here's another Criterion one. Their packaging just keeps changing. It's weird. Sometimes I'll get ones with a slipcover. Sometimes I'll get one that looks like a book. Then there's that. And then there's like this. It just comes in a generic, like a slightly thicker case that's the size of a regular Blu-ray 4K. And this is the Heroic Trio and Executioners double pack. So these are superhero movies from China, from Hong Kong. And one of the actors in both of them is Michelle Yeoh, who just won an Oscar last year for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Also has Maggie Cheung, who you've probably seen in a bunch of Jackie Chan movies. She played Jackie Chan's girlfriend in Super Cop. And then you also have Anita Mui, who's, I think she was a model at first, and then she became an actor. And she was in Rumble in the Bronx. She was the woman who bought the store that Jackie Chan's uncle owned in the movie, and then he ends up like hanging out with her throughout the rest of the movie. It has a really good cast. All 3 actresses are great, and it's like I said, they're superhero movies. Each one of the characters has a special power. One of them is like a super thief, if I remember right. No, let me see here. I don't remember. It's been a while since I've seen these. But yeah, it says comic book lunacy. But they're absolutely nuts action movies. I absolutely love them. I saw them in the 90s, and I absolutely loved them. And then when I was doing my movies that would make great video games series of collaboration videos with other YouTubers and whatnot, one of them, I had Linda the Gamer Girl in one of them. And the movie that she picked to turn into a video game was the second movie, The Executioners, which is great. I saw her talking about it, and I was like, yes, absolutely. That would have made a fantastic beat 'em up, 8-bit. Actually, the time these movies came out in the 90s, it would have been like PlayStation 1 era. So a 3D beat 'em up where you get to choose between the 3 different characters for different situations. Been a great beat 'em up, but absolutely need to watch these again. Like I said, I haven't watched them since the 90s. That was at the time when I was really heavily getting into Hong Kong action movies because of the Jackie Chan movies and Mortal Kombat. Next up is a box set that has all 4 of the Hunger Games movies in it. And this has been re-released I don't know how many different times, and I don't know how many different packaging configurations. But this one is the one I finally said, okay, that one. It came in one that basically was wide as all hell and had a Blu-ray or a 4K, standard 4K case, like this for every movie in it. So it was wide as 4 cases. And I was like, no, I want slim. I like slim. I know the way these people work. They're going to always release that one first. And then like a year or two down the line, they'll revamp it and release a smaller one. And they've released this, I think, 3 different times. Finally, Lionsgate was like, yes, we'll make it in one slim. It's just slightly thicker than your average case. And since this is from Lionsgate and this is a steelbook, you know that the slipcase is going to do something when you remove it. So let me do a little unboxing here real quick so we can see what that is. Because every time they have a steelbook like this that I get, they used to get, Best Buy used to get all the exclusive steelbooks from Lionsgate, but now that Best Buy is bowing out of physical media, now it's going to Walmart, and now Walmart's talking about getting rid of physical media, and I missed out on this, but I ended up getting it off of eBay pretty decently priced. So right now it looks like a big close-up of Katniss, and she's like surrounded by flowers. Let's see if anything happens when you remove it. Well, now she's surrounded by fire. And on the back, instead of this, now you have snow also, which is kind of cool. That's kind of neat. But yeah, this has all 4 original movies. So this has the original Hunger Games, Catching Fire, Mockingjay Part 1 and Part 2. Does not have the new prequel movie. What is that? Songbird of Snakes and Pigeons or Flamingos or whatever the hell it's called, which I have not seen.
Yep.
I kind of like the Hunger Games. I like the books. I like the books quite a bit. The movies, I think whenever you split like the final book in half because you're just grubbing for money, you always lessen the final product because like there was not enough novel to split that book in half and make 2 hours or 2 hours and 20-minute movies out of it. And I think the last 2 movies really suffer because of that. But it's the movie that made me take notice of Jennifer Lawrence. I thought she was absolutely fantastic, perfectly cast as Katniss in these, and everything about it is actually not too bad. It's just like those last 2 movies just really kind of bore the shit out of me. So had to pick that one up. Finally got one in a slim case, like I said. You finally saw these? Saw the prequel first and saw the new movies. I mean, the original ones falls apart when you remove it. What if it just falls apart? Yeah, I know, right? I always dread that because like the Dark Man is one, like some... The only thing that sucks about there's 2 things that suck about steelbooks. You can dent the shit out of them, and then what do? And 2, they're held. The metal parts are all held together by plastic, and if those break, you're screwed too. So, someone was saying that one of the steelbooks that I had bought like a year ago, I don't remember which one it was. I guess people were Last Dragon. People were getting them, and when they'd open up the packaging, it would fall apart. Like all the plastic had already like broke. Or whatever, and they would just fall apart. So they're like, make sure yours is not broken. Open it when you get it to make sure. Mine was fine. But that's the only thing I really dread about steelbooks. Easily dinged. Like you drop a regular 4K case, you can buy replacements online for 50 cents. You can't replace a steelbook, which kind of sucks. Next up is a 3-pack of all of the Beverly Hills Cop movies in 4K. I really like the first 2. The third one, what the hell? The plastic was powder on the inside? Wow, that's crazy. I never saw the first 2 in the theater. I only saw them on home video. I guess, I don't know if my parents thought they were too vulgar or whatever, but when they came on home video, it was not a big deal to watch them. Oh, yeah. I already had part 1 and 2 separately, but they did not release part 3 separately. Why? Because it sucks, and they know nobody would buy it if they did release it separately, so they make you buy them again to get all 3. So I did see part 3 in the theater, and it's another situation where I've talked about this I don't know how many times, like when it came to like Mortal Kombat Annihilation. I loved the first Mortal Kombat movie so much, and I saw it in the theater like 7 times. I loved it so much that when the sequel came out, I saw it 4 times in the theater, and it took me seeing it 4 times in the theater to realize I hated it. I was like in real bad denial. Same thing happened with Beverly Hills Cop 3. I loved the first 2 Beverly Hills Cop movies so much that I was just so excited that I was finally being able to see one of them in the theater that I saw it, I do believe, 3 times. And on the 3rd time, I was just kind of like, why am I doing this to myself? This is terrible. Like, I just did not get it. But the movie that made Eddie Murphy a household name outside of SNL, but the movie series that made him like, a big Hollywood player, the first 2 movies. Absolutely loved the first 2. They are so much fun and fast paced, even though they're totally a little bit different. The first one is a little more down to earth and serious. It is funny, but it isn't over the top, really. The second one is made by Tony Scott, and that guy knows nothing but over the top. And it is just like this crazy comic booky, off-the-wall action movie that is just like nonstop jokes and bullets kind of thing. And then part 3 is just, I don't know what the hell happened, but it's just boring as hell. It is boring, and it is dumb, and it's not funny. Nothing about it works. It is horrible. Although I am kind of excited about the 4th movie coming out, even though it's on Netflix. It means I got to get Netflix again to watch it. Shit. But glad to have that finally. Yeah, too bad it's a Netflix release. Yep, I was just saying that. I got rid of Netflix almost a year ago now. I'm going to have to get it again, and then I'll probably get like a month-long, test thing and watch as much as I possibly can and then get rid of it again. I'll probably do that like once a year. Just like watch a whole bunch of stuff real fast. I'll watch all the Last Airbender live action stuff. All the movies that I've been missing. Watch the Axel F. The next one comes from Arrow Video from across the pond in the Englands. And this had a lot of problems other than Amazon shipping it to me in a decent shape. Like it got delayed a couple of times. It was like supposed to come out, then it didn't. I don't know if there was like they realized they had some problems with the pressings or whatever. But finally, the Conan Chronicles. This is Conan the Barbarian and the Destroyer in 4K. And, these hard shell Arrow releases always come with a bunch of extra stuff aside from the movies. So I'm a huge fan of the Conan movies. They're the ones that really got me into watching Schwarzenegger movies, other than the Terminator. I think I saw the second one before I saw the first one. The first one, I think, was one of those movies my parents were like, I don't know if the kids are ready for this. But part 2, since it was rated PG, my parents were like, it should be okay. And then because we liked it so much, my brother and I, they were like, okay, let them watch Conan the Barbarian, and if they can't handle it, we'll turn it off. And we both were like, this is nothing like the second one. The second one is like silly and tongue-in-cheek and is like watching a comic book movie. It was like an early comic book movie. When the first one is more based on the book and is more serious and thoughtful and graphic. A lot of nudity, a lot of beheadings. But really, really cool. I really like it. So there we go with Conan the Barbarian. That's it. Actually has some lobby cards in here. I remember hearing that there was a bunch of stuff in these. So yeah, a bunch of lobby cards. Like shots of the movie. James Earl Jones as Thulsa Doom. That scene where he turns into a snake still kind of freaks me out because it's so well done. That's that classic shot of Arnold when he's practicing with his sword. Crom, the hell with you. You son of a bitch. Come on. Die. And then this is something that has to do with, I think that's the Arrow channel. But you got a Blu-ray and a DVD of the movie because all the extras for the movies are on the Blu-ray. Or not the, did I say DVD? You have a Blu-ray and a 4K. All the extras are on the Blu-ray because you can't really fit extras on a 4K because all the information is dedicated toward the movie and the audio track. Fan service. Same here with Conan the Destroyer, the second one. This is the silly comic booky one. Sarah Douglas is one of the villains. Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt frickin' Chamberlain. And Grace Jones. take him. I remember that when she's. I can't remember Olivia Diabo's character, the young girl. I think Olivia Diabo was like 16 or 15 or 16 when she made this, and she's talking to Grace Jones, who's playing like this Amazon chick, how to get a man because she has a crush on Conan. And Grace Jones is like, if you want a man, take him and make him yours, kind of shit. And the young girl's going like, oh. Comes with a couple of posters, one for each film, which is kind of cool. So there's the original one sheet for Conan 2, and the artwork. Oh, it's just a picture of Conan. Shit! Don't show my grandma. Rolling over in the grave right now. Oh my! The original one sheet for Conan the Barbarian, and another shot of him, which is cool. And then this thick-ass book, which is one of the reasons why I love getting these box sets from from Arrow. They always have these really awesome books that are just nothing but essays about the making of the movie, actors' thoughts on it and all that kind of stuff, behind-the-scenes footage, pictures and whatnot. Really, really cool. And if anybody can tell me who plays the embodiment of the god that everyone is trying to resurrect in the second Conan movie, let me know, because I will give you 2 internet points if you know who it was, because I think it's funny. Who plays Toth Amon? And each movie has a ton of extras. That is so much. I can't wait to sit down and watch these again. It's been a long time since I've watched them. And of course, because I got these through frickin' Amazon, all the corners are pushed in. The discs themselves aren't damaged, but Jesus, can I at least get one thing from them where the packaging doesn't look like they put it in a dryer, like a clothes dryer? He must be in Conan. No problem, Solid. Thanks for coming. I definitely prefer 4K over Blu-ray. When it comes to certain things, like when it comes to like Kindergarten Cop, did that really need to be in 4K? I still have way more Blu-rays than I have 4Ks. There's certain ones that I definitely want to upgrade. There's ones that there's ones that I'm in there. I'm like, I don't care. I'm okay with my Blu-ray. It's fine. But like there's certain movies that I love that I would love to upgrade if I can, if they're available. And then the last movie thing I'm going to talk about. Oh, by the way, hi Peter, how's it going? Last movie thing I'm going to talk about is the third set of Hitchcock movies, the Hitchcock Classics Collection. Of course, they had to put this frickin' shipping label right over the dude's name. And of course, I'm not going to be able to get it off. I'm going to have to open it up. Oh, well, I guess I'm opening it. All these unboxings in one stream. What? Are we in Bizarre Land? Come on. Trying not to damage it already, or damage it more than Amazon already has when they shipped it to me. There we go. Because this is another one where like every corner is pushed in. Dum-dums. So this third box set has 5 movies from Hitchcock. It has Rope, The Man Who Knew Too Much. I'm not sure which one because I think it might be the second one. Hitchcock directed 2 The Man Who Knew Too Much movies. He remade his own movie. I guess he made the original Man Who Knew Too Much early on in his career and he wasn't happy with it. So when he got better at his craft and had more clout, he decided to remake his own movie to make it what he really wanted it to be with a bigger budget. And I'm assuming that's the one that's here because these are all like later Hitchcock movies. Has Torn Curtain, Topaz, and Frenzy. I have only seen Rope out of all of these. So they're all going to be new to me. But I love Hitchcock. So I had to pick this one up. It got discounted on Amazon, so I picked it up. And once again, this stupid BS with these like cardboard sleeves that you got to peel the discs out of. Way to ruin the damn movies, guys. Y'all suck. My left nut. But I like the fact that it's like in a book, other than that. Oh, hi, Peter. Okay, so that's it for the movies. Now I can get into the games. So now there's nothing super epic here. North by Northwest, I think, is in the first set that I have. There's 3 of them. I have all 3. So nothing epic like last month. No big new device or anything. I got all the new ones last month. It's going to be a while before I buy something new like that again. So earlier in the month, Church, the Game Grinder, and Cardboard Zero, Justin, came down from Minnesota to visit for the weekend because we all went to the Nier orchestral concert. Nier being, the video game by Square Enix and Platinum Games. This is the second concert we've gone to for Nier. Personally, I did not like Nier Automata. Automata? I still don't know how you're supposed to say it. I always say Automata. I tried playing Automata, and I played it for maybe like 2 hours, and I was just like, this is boring. I don't like it. But I love orchestral music. I love video game soundtracks. I love film soundtracks, TV movie soundtracks, whatever. So the opportunity to go and see an orchestra play, even if it's from something I'm not familiar with, I'm completely fine with because I just love orchestral music. So I was happy to go with them. Concert was fantastic. Took them around town, took them to some restaurants because Justin had never been to Chicago before. Took him to some of my favorite restaurants, and he absolutely loved it. We ended up playing Rift Tracks, the game, which I showed off last month. What was it? Friday and Saturday night. Friday night, it was off the hook because, we were drinking, and it was just nuts. The stuff that we were coming up with for that game is awesome. I've been to a bunch of video game concerts. I went to Video Games Live, the first iteration of it, back in that was like the late 2000s. I've been to a Dear Friends Final Fantasy concert that came to Chicago. I went to the 2 Nier concerts and also the Final Fantasy VII Remake concert where Church actually came down on his own and spent the weekend here so we can go to that. And I'd happily go to more. There was a couple of actual film music concerts that happened this month, and I missed one of them. One of them was Blade Runner. I can't remember what the name of the concert hall is. It's in downtown. There's a Blade Runner one, and then there's going to be one based on from Batman from 1989, and I'm thinking about going to see that one because early Danny Elfman is the shit. Anyway, so while they were here, I took them around not only to some of my favorite restaurants, but some of my favorite places where I get video games and collectibles and whatever. Took them to I think 4 different stores, and aside from the first place we went, which was all anime stuff, they got stuff there. They were super happy about that. I picked stuff up everywhere we went. The first store that I bought something at is the local retro toy resale shop called Toy du Jour. Was it dedicated to arts and farts, I think is the subtitle. I know the owners. Jesus, what's his name? I'm drawing a blank on his name now. I feel bad if he's watching this too. Sam, who owns the store, was there, and his wife Liz. Liz has been on my The Movie Is Starting podcast every season that we've done it. She's we call her one of the unofficial third hosts because she's super cool. She's a stand-up comedian, an actress. She's funny as all hell. She's awesome. Sam's awesome too. So I ran into them both at the store, and I actually found a video game thing there. They actually had a boxed copy of Anticipation for the NES. And it was not expensive. This was like $20. And I remember having this one back in the day. It's almost like playing Trivial Pursuit, but it also has to do with you're watching a drawing happening and you're supposed to try to figure out what the drawing is before it's finished. And the earlier you guess it, the more points you get kind of thing. And we played it all the time when I was a kid. And when I bought this at the store, Liz was sitting behind the counter. She was I think polishing a toy or cleaning a toy that someone had sold them. And she's just kind of the fights that me and my sister had when we were playing that as kids, I cannot begin to describe. And I was like, well, I understand you completely because I had the exact same fights with my friends and my brother when we were playing this. So for $20, I was not going to pass that up. I've been trying to get more of those board gamey Nintendo games that I used to have, like this and I've got Pictionary from LJN already, and there's one more that I can't remember which one it is. There's one more out there that I want, but was not going to pass it up for $20. Absolutely not. And that's in really good condition. And today, well, also, the Super Bowl happened this month, and every year when the Super Bowl hits, what's up, Retro Coop? I know that Pictionary's got the awesome music. I don't remember Anticipation very much. I have to play it again to get my memory back. But yeah, I don't remember the music from that one as vividly as I remember Pictionary, because Pictionary's got that banger music. Anyway, the Super Bowl was this month, and every year at work, we do like squares for the Super Bowl. We bet on what the end score is going to be. And every year, even though I know absolutely nothing about football, I don't like football, I don't watch the Super Bowl, I always do it, and I just guess random things. I don't even know if these scores that I'm picking are even possible, but I always end up winning. So I won a bunch of money this year, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to that new retro game store that I was shown by TJ over here called Retro Dimensions and see what they have. And that's exactly what I did today on my lunch break. I went over there, and I bought a whole bunch of things, one of which is a TurboGrafx 16 game. A lot of these a bunch of the stuff you're going to see has not been photographed by me for my social media stuff yet, so there's some spoilers. I picked up a copy of Cybercore, which is a shmup, another shmup for the TurboGrafx 16. This is the shmup console, guys. This one is a vertically scrolling shmup. That has all to do with like insects and stuff. I was reading the manual when I was at work today to familiarize myself with it. And they have like the names. You can kind of see, there's no pictures on the box of these, but you can see what the game looks like. It's a horizontally scrolling shmup. There's like the lists of enemies and the bosses in this and the names of the levels. One of the levels, and I started cackling at work, and everyone's looking at me like, is Chris okay? When I read this one, the stage 5 is called Clonus Clitellium, and I saw clit, and I just started laughing. Clitellium. I was like, I am 12 years old. It's complete, comes with the little protector for the chip, and the clip is still intact. So super thrilled about that. Schwoops! Day of pickups yet. Picked this and 3 other games up today that you're going to see right now. So can't wait to sit down and play this on my brand new Polymega, which I'm enjoying the hell out of, by the way. Also, when Church and Justin and Rocket Sauce from the Cartridge Club also came down for the concert. He didn't come for the whole weekend. He just came down for the concert. Took everybody to the Exchange, which is the multimedia store where it's movies, music, games, toys, all that kind of stuff. They had a Sega CD game in the case, and it was not super expensive. Normally, I see Sega CD games out in the wild, and it's just kind of like, no way in hell am I taking my wallet out for that. No, shame on you, sir. This was like $35. And that is Dungeon Master 2 Skullkeep. This is a dungeon crawler, but it's first-person dungeon crawler. You can see the pictures. I'm trying not to get the reflections in there. And I'm all over that type of RPG. I love those types of games. Like the other Sega CD game I have, which one is it? Eye of the Beholder, the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons one. I love that one. So when I saw this sitting there, I was like, can I take that out? I want to take a look at it real quick. And I saw what the game was. And I was like, oh, yeah, you're coming home with me. There's no way in hell you're not. So pick this one up. The most extensive RPG for the Sega CD. Hundreds of puzzles to solve. Yeah. Mega Enhanced Mouse. I can use the mouse that I have for this. I can finally play a game with the mouse, if it'll actually play on my Polymega. But we'll see. And then I was talking at the top of the stream that I'm collecting for a new console now, and it is because of my Polymega. My Polymega plays a console that I do not own, the actual console of. So I'm taking advantage of the fact that this thing plays games for a console I don't currently own, And I've actually gone out of my way to get a few. Two of them are part of a collecting goal that I've set for myself that I've talked about for years and years. And those two are for the 32X. So I picked up a copy of Star Wars Arcade because one of my collecting goals since the very beginning, when I started getting back into collecting games, was I want all of the Star Wars console games, including Atari 2600 and that kind of thing, 5200, 7800, all that. And television, if they are. I think some of, and ColecoVision, all that. I want to get all of them. Well, I totally forgot that 32X had a Star Wars game. This is not based on any like arcade game that was actually available. It's an upgraded version of that old Star Wars arcade game that came out around the same time as the original Star Wars and or Empire Strikes Back, where it was like all wireframes. It was like vector graphics, whereas the Trench Run. Basically, it's just like an upgraded polygon version of that. It's not the trilogy arcade, arcade game that I would have absolutely loved to get a home port of. I used to play that Star Wars trilogy game all the time back in the late 90s. But I was playing this the other night on the Poly Mega. It plays just fine, smooth as hell. Just the controls, getting used to not using the thumbstick, like the analog controls for a flight game now really confused my brain for a few minutes. And I was like, no, I got to use the directional pad. Come on. It just took a while for me to click back into that old mode. But it's a fun game. It's okay. It's not great, but it's okay. And then one of the other collecting goals was I want to get all the Star Trek games because I'm a huge Star Trek fan. So I also totally forgot that Star Trek Starfleet Academy Starship Bridge Simulator came out for the 32X. So now that I have a way to play them, of course I'm going to buy that. And I do have this game already on the Super Nintendo, and it's a pretty cool game. I like it. It's not really a story-based game. It's a bunch of it is a simulator thing. You're like Starfleet trainees. You're still in school, and you're going into the simulator to have battle readiness tests and stuff like that. And basically it's like, oh, okay, here's a ship, go destroy it. Or here's some tasks you need to do. Here's how you slow the ship down and speed it up and slow it down and turn and go to warp and all this kind of stuff. And then you can also, at least in the Super Nintendo one, you could play through scenarios from the Star Trek feature films. Like you could play through the Reliant battle from Star Trek 2. You can also do the battle with the cloaking bird of prey from Star Trek 6. That kind of thing. It's really, really cool. Obviously, because this is 32X, the graphics are a hell of a lot better than the Super Nintendo version. Everything is a little bit more polished looking, but it's still the exact same game. So, I like it. It's cool. Played a little bit of that the day that it showed up. And then the other three games I picked up today when I was out game hunting on my lunch break are more 32X stuff. So I was looking at some of these on eBay, and I was just kind of like, I don't know if I want to pay what they're being asked for. They were a little slightly cheaper at the store when I found them, and one of them is Shadow Squadron. This is another Wing Commander-esque into the screen, dogfight simulator, outer space dogfight simulator, similar to Star Wars Arcade. That's all done with polygons. So when I saw this sitting there, I was just kind of like, yeah, I think that's going to be one of the ones I take home with me. Was not super expensive, so I picked it up. I have not tried it yet. Like I said, I just bought it today. And another one is Metalhead. And I don't know too much about this one. I did have a 32X back in the day. I want to say I got rid of it. No, I picked it up in the early 2000s. Back when eBay was first a thing, I bought all of the consoles I always wanted off of eBay for dirt cheap. Going hard on the 32X. I don't know. I was slightly toying with the idea of possibly trying to go for a complete collection. And then I looked at the prices of all the games that I don't have, and I was like, nope. Not paying $1,400 for that Spider-Man game. There's no way in hell. But this one is a mech game, and you're inside the mech, and I do believe it is first person, it is your point of view inside the mech, battling other mechs and stuff. So this one had a good price also, so that's why I picked this one up. So, yep. And then I saw this sitting there as well, and I was just kind of like, well, my Polymega plays that as well, but I don't think I've ever had one of the CD versions. So I picked up Fahrenheit, which comes with not only the Sega CD version of the game, but also the Sega CD 32X version of the game. So it has 2 discs in it. One of them is the Sega CD version, one is the 32X version, which obviously is going to have better graphics and better full motion video capabilities. But this is a full motion video game where you're playing as firefighters. And I've never owned this one. I love my full motion video games. So number 1, super thrilled to get a new full motion video game that I never had back in the day. And number 2, I get to play a 32X one. I've never done that before. I never had the 32X Sega CD games. And this one has, I think it said 3 scenarios. Yeah, 3 different challenges. A house engulfed in flames, a blazing hotel with 112 rooms, and a huge university booby-trapped by a crazed nuclear physicist. So, absolutely had to add this to the collection. Never played it before, don't know anything about it. It's okay. Yeah, it's full motion videos, games. Those are my thing. I have to have it. Even if it sucks, I gotta have it. It's a moral imperative. And then the rest of this stuff. One of the games I picked up when I was out with church and everybody, when I was at the exchange, I had been, Peter, you're going to love this. So I was like, why don't I own that game in my collection? Like, I remember thinking about it like a week before that everybody showed up. I was like, why is that game not in my collection? I need to look for it. So when we went out game hunting that weekend, I looked for it everywhere, and I found it at 2 different places. One of them, it looked like somebody had stuck it up their butt, and it was overpriced. And I was like, no, there's no way in hell I'm buying that one. We went to the exchange, and they had it. It was in good shape. It was a little more expensive than I was willing to pay, but it wasn't bad. So I was just like, you know what, just get it, because I've been wanting to play this again, and that is SSX Tricky with the holographic metal kind of artwork. Like snowboarding game that's kind of like playing one of the Tony Hawk games. It's all about tricks and doing crazy stuff in the air. So absolutely had to get that. Been wanting to play this for so freaking long. Glad I'm able to add that back into my collection. Yeah, the console. Yeah, like one of the games I had for the 32X back in the day was T-Mech. And I used to play it in the arcade all the time. T-Mech is like, it's like a dumbed down version. Well, it's pretty much the exact same game. Virtual On, you're basically sitting in like a giant tank and you're trying to shoot other tanks. Each one has like a special ability and all that. Well, they had like the arcade that I used to go to all the time had a sit down version of it, which was awesome. And I used to play it all the time. If I couldn't play Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter 2 or something like that, I would always play T-Mech. And I had T-Mech on the 32X back in the day. Pissed off that I sold it when I lost my job, over a decade ago. But I'm like, I want to get T-Mech back into my collection. Well, guess what? When I went to Retro Dimensions today and picked up all these 32X games, they had it. They had T-Mech sitting in that case. They wanted $300 for it. And I went, nope. Mega CD instead. Also, when I was out with church and everybody, I picked this one up at the exchange as well. Did not know this even existed. And when I saw it in the case by their registers where they keep the more expensive things, I was like, I need that because of what it is. And when I posted the picture of all my pickups for the week, whatever week that was, the first weekend of February, everybody was like, where did that come from? Why did I not know about it? And why do I not own it? And I was like, that's my reason for buying it exactly. And that is Altered Beast, Guardian of the Realms. I had no idea there was a Game Boy Advance Altered Beast game. I had no clue. So I absolutely had to pick this one up. And it looks, I have not played it yet. I should have tested it now that I think the reason why I haven't tested it is because I unhooked my retro Freak, which can play advanced games, and hooked up the Polymega in its place. So that's why I haven't played it yet. I have no way to play it. It looks exactly like the arcade, but you have a bunch of new stages to play through and a bunch of new animals you can turn into. It says right here, orbs of essence transform you from a man to a beast to beast creatures like a dragon or a scorpion. So you can turn into a scorpion at some point. 2 multiplayer modes, 2-player co-op story mode, and 4-player battle arena. Collect power-ups like shockwaves and venom for special attacks. So, super thrilled about this, even though it's kind of weird that we got a Sega license or a Sega game from THQ. I don't think Sega had anything to do with this. I think that THQ just like licensed the name and made their own game. That's weird. But whatever. I had to have it when I saw what it was. I was like, absolutely have to. And then I was at work toward the beginning of the month, and I was watching an episode of LGR, Lazy Game Reviews. I've been watching his stuff. He's like one of the long-term YouTube video gamers that I consistently watch because his stuff is very well made, very well thought out. His voice is very soothing, which is relaxing. And he talks about interesting stuff. He mostly talks about PC stuff, and I'm not a PC gamer, so I find this stuff interesting when he talks about it because he goes for like really odd stuff. Like the last one I watched was this controller that looks like an orb for flight simulators and stuff, and for first-person shooters that has like controls like on the sides of it. It's like this giant orb you're supposed to hold, and it is the jankiest freaking thing you've ever seen in your life. But he did one earlier this month talking about SimCity. I can't remember which SimCity game he was talking about. I think it was 2000 or whatever. And he brought up the fact that there was a DS game of SimCity, and it's based on SimCity 2000. So I said, sure, I'll pick up SimCity DS. I love SimCity. The SimCity on the Super Nintendo is still one of the games that I play the most on the Super Nintendo. Like that's like one of those like safety games where like when I can't think of anything else to play, I just want to like play something that I'm super familiar with and I don't have to put a whole lot of thought into. I'll pop SimCity in, and it's like the music just instantly takes me back to like my childhood, playing that when I was in high school. And I have not played a whole lot of SimCity 2000, and this seems like a really cool way to do it. So I decided to pick it up. It's absolutely complete. Got this dirt cheap off of eBay. So I can't wait to sit down and try this one out. I got to charge up my 3DS so I can do it. And now we have the modern stuff. So because of going to that Nier concert, I said I wasn't really all that into Nier Automata all that much. But the fact remains that it is part 2 in a series. And the first game came out on the PS3. I do own it, but I've never actually played it. But they released a remaster or remake of it on the PS4, and that got renamed as Nier Replicant. So because of the concert and seeing all the, like, they have screens all over the back of the concert hall on the walls and all that show like stuff from the games and stuff like that while the music is playing to keep you occupied in case like you need something to look at that is not just looking at people playing violins and woodwinds. The footage that they were showing was pretty cool, and I was watching Nintendo stream this a little while back, maybe like 2 years ago, and I was like, why does it look like you're playing through a bullet hell shooter, but you're on foot? And he's like, that's kind of the way the game is set up. So I was like, all right, fine, I'll pick up a copy of this and try this one out and see if I like it more than Automata, whatever you want to call it. So picked up the first game, and it has actually a longer name. It's like Nier Replicant, and then it's like a series of numbers. Yeah, there it is. 1.22474487139. Whatever. From what I understand, that has a bunch of quality of life improvements over the first one, and I guess they smoothed out some story issues that kind of conflict with Automata. And then we get to the PS5s. So I'll talk about this since I can't actually play it, but I heard that this game was like going to go out of print or something was going on with it, and it was not going to be on the market anymore, and the price is just going to go up, so I jumped on it. Usually when I do this, that never happens, like it never goes out of print or whatever. So I just bought a game that I can't play because it requires the PSVR 2, which I don't own, and that is Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge, the Enhanced Edition. This is the second version of this game. This is like the complete one. This has extra-wise Continue your adventure in the cantina by unlocking 3 of Sleaziak's legendary tales. Become a Jedi in the Temple of Darkness, train with your Padawan in the Sacred Garden, and take on a bounty as assassin droid IG-88 in Bounty of Boggs Triff. But it's a VR game that kind of, I guess it takes... It's Galaxy's Edge is the name of the Disney park, the Star Wars Disney park. So I'm assuming that this was made to kind of advertise that a little bit and also give you something to do in a game. So it's a bunch of like mini games in virtual reality. So I do plan on getting a PSVR 2 since I really, really loved the PSVR 1 for the PS4. So I'll get it eventually. It's still a little too expensive, but I'm glad I'll have a game to play once I get it. This is the current game I'm playing. Picked this one up when I was out with church and everybody. Picked this one up at the exchange as well. I didn't realize that this was not a full-priced PS5 game, so I bought it because it wasn't $70. This was like $40. And that is the new Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. I love Prince of Persia as a franchise. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Some of them are better than others. That reboot that they did in the late 2000s, not so much. But the reason I wanted to pick this one up is the genre that they decided to turn this into. It went back to being 2D instead of 3D, and they made it a Metroidvania. And I've also said in other streams that I'm thinking that this is going to be the year of my, like, I'm trying to play as many Metroidvanias as I possibly can. So I'm starting off with this, and I'm about halfway through the game, I think, right now. And it is pretty fantastic. You unlock new abilities at a good pace. Combat is really fun. You're constantly unlocking new ways to fight and abilities to help you. And I'm really liking the graphic style. The story is interesting and kind of cheesy, but the environment is really cool. You're in this like haunted temple, which is pretty, or haunted castle kind of, and it's really, really rad. I like it a lot. And the main character you play as is really interesting because he's essentially a god, or a very well-trained fighter that has godlike abilities. How about that? I really, really like it. It's really a fantastic game. I'm hoping to beat it this weekend. Picked this one up because it was discounted, but and it's a part 2 in a series. I have not even played the first one yet, and I own the first game on the Switch. And the fact that I talked about it in my Switch streams is the reason why I decided to get a copy of this before, it gets too expensive. That is Octopath Traveler 2. So this is this RPG series where you play as, in this one you play as another 8 different characters through their own little RPG adventure, and eventually they'll all come together and the storylines will all tie together. I know that the Q-Dogs, Miss Q-Dog, is still playing the first game. She's been playing it since it came out and is still playing it. She has not beaten it yet. I know that Tony, back in the day gamer, beat this and he says it's like one of his favorite RPGs. I don't know if he's played the second one yet, but he loves his RPGs, and if he's saying that this is awesome, I got to try it at some point. But yeah, I haven't even played the first one yet, and I bought the second one. What the hell's wrong with me? Also picked this one up because Metroidvania, and this one looks really, really cool. I can't remember where I saw somebody talk about this. Might have been Radical Reggie or something that I saw in like one of his pictures on Facebook or whatever. But I picked up a copy of Ultros, the deluxe edition. This is like this psychedelic Metroidvania that just looks absolutely crazy. It looks like if you were to take Rayman Legends, and give it some freaking LSD and then make a Metroidvania out of it and mix it with like Guacamelee. The color scheme is absolutely nuts. I think it's going to be... I'm going to play this next after I beat Prince of Persia, so I can't wait to try this one out. It says the deluxe edition includes the sleeve. It comes with an outer sleeve, like a Blu-ray or a 4K. Reversible artwork, digital art book, digital soundtrack, 3 art cards, and an exclusive magnet. Oh! Should I open it and see what everything looks like in there? Let's do it. So how's everybody doing tonight? Hope everybody's had a decent week so far. This week's been going pretty well. I made a decision to start writing another screenplay, even though I've got 2 unfinished ones that I'm working on. So I'm bouncing ideas around in my brain as to how I want to go ahead with that screenplay. But like, look at these art cards, man. It is just trippy ass stuff. That looks like Vampire Hunter D. That is super cool. I might actually use the magnet on my fridge. That is super cool. So I am really looking forward to playing this one. It looks super rad. Get in there. I'm going to keep you out because I'm going to put you on my fridge. Come on. There we go. There you go. And the last game I'm going to talk about is a game that came out of effing nowhere. Had no clue that this came out at all. I just happened to be putzing around on Amazon at work. And I can't remember what I was buying. But, normally you'll add something to your cart or add something to your wish list, and they'll be like, these are other things you might like. And this popped up in that list. And I was like, wait a minute. When did that happen? And why did I not know about it? Because it is a sequel to one of my favorite video games of all time. And that is for PS5, Flashback 2, the limited edition. When did we get a sequel to Flashback 2? I had no idea this was even in development. How did I not know that? But the original Flashback came out at first on the Genesis only, and then it came out on the Super Nintendo, and then it started getting ported everywhere. Eventually, it came out on the 3DO. I still think the 3DO version is the best version ever. I have it also on the Switch. I have like a limited edition of that. And I cannot tell you enough how much I love the first one. The first one is one of those old school Prince of Persia style games where it's like a cinematic platformer where it's all about the animations of the character and all that, and you're doing all this weird platforming type stuff. It's all about an alien invasion. Aliens are disguising themselves as humans and trying to infiltrate society, and you basically get like this, almost like They Live. You get these special glasses that let you see where the aliens are, and you end up going to their home planet and taking them out. This game did get a sequel. The original Flashback did get a sequel. It wasn't called Flashback 2, but I do have it. It came out on the PC first and eventually was released on the PlayStation 1. And I have that. It is called Fade to Black. And this one is, instead of being that side-scrolling, 2D cinematic platformer, this is a 3D game where it takes place like right after the original Flashback left off. Like you were frozen, you got put in suspended animation and launched into space, and now you wake up from that suspended animation and you're on an alien ship and you're trying to get off. But now we got Flashback 2. So is this like doing the whole Halloween, David Gordon Green Halloween movie thing where it erases the sequels that came before it? So this can be the official part 2? Is that what's going on? I don't know. But it looks like a jazzed up version of the original Flashback. It is still a 2D platformer, cinematic, platformer style game. It's just got all the crazy bells and whistles that come with being on the PS5. And this is a steelbook also. Where can I cut? There you go. Excuse me. And it comes with a slipcase. And there's the information cube from the first game. Apparently it has something to do with this game as well. But that's where because your memory was wiped when the first game starts, and this told you, it was like it's kind of like Total Recall when Quaid finds that recording of himself, like, you are not you, you are me, kind of thing, and tells them what's going on. And here's the code for the soundtrack, which I will not give away. So really cool looking steelbook. And the deluxe edition, or the limited edition, comes with the digital soundtrack and an exclusive steelbook. So that is that. Can't wait to dive into this. So I'm probably going to play Ultros next, and then this after. Cannot wait. Cannot wait. You guys have no idea how excited I was when I saw that there was a Flashback 2. I was just like, at work, I'm like, ah! People are like, why is Chris squeeing at his desk? Anyway, so that's it for my pickups for February. Like I said, it's not super awesome like the last month. Like last month was just like, what? This month, a little more low-key, but a lot of stuff I really, really like, and I'm glad that I have in the collection now. I'm glad I can start collecting for a new console. I'm probably going to buy a bunch of stuff at Midwest Gaming Classic now for the 32X if I can find them for good prices. I don't know. We'll see. I have a bunch of stuff I'm going to sell that I want to sell, that I'm going to probably take to Retro Dimensions and maybe try to get that copy of T-Mech, so the point where I don't have to pay out my ass for it. So I'll be back next month at the end of March, right before the Midwest Gaming Classic, with the March stream. So keep an eye out for that. I have no plans for anything that I'm going to be looking for specifically outside of 32X games that are cheap right now. So maybe I'll just wait until the Midwest Gaming Classic is over and do like a combined March Midwest Gaming Classic stream. We'll see. Tomorrow I'll be back with the first and probably only PlayStation VR Video Game Collection 2024 live stream. So tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. Central. If you're interested in finding out what games I have for my PSVR collection, for my PS4, come back for that. So like I said, 8:30 p.m. Central. And yeah, I think that's about it. I don't have any shorts that I'm planning on making. I kind of burned myself on making shorts. I was shooting so many of them at once, so I would have like one to release every other day that I just got sick of doing it, so I kind of stopped. And D&D isn't going to be happening until the end of March, so that's really delayed. I have no excuse as to not finishing the story for that since I've had like 3 months to do it. But don't forget, I have also got my other YouTube channel now. The Movie is Starting. It's where my podcast, The Movie is Starting, is being hosted now. So go to The Movie is Starting on YouTube. I just started uploading the 5th season's worth of episodes last night. So we got 5 episodes from season 5 up, 15 more to go. Season 6, 20 episodes of that, and then we can start making new ones for season 7. So if you're interested in signing up and subscribing to my other YouTube channel, go to this address. I do believe that is it. Will it actually take you there? I wonder. Oh, we'll see. Anyway, go give that a sub. Got how many? I don't know. Over 85 episodes up now, I think. So there's a lot of stuff there. If you like movie commentary tracks, you like funny or people talking about geeky shit, check that out. And yeah, I think that's about it. So thanks for coming and hanging out with me tonight, everybody. I really appreciate it. It's good seeing everybody and chit-chatting. I'll talk to you all later. Have a good night. Stay safe out there. Chris, Midwest, I almost called it myself Midwest Gaming Classic, Midlife Crisis Media, signing off.